Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm happy to welcome you today on this session. We are like 1 minute after 11, so I believe that we can jump on it. I'm Tomas, and I'm really happy to welcome you today to meet new customer experience enthusiasts, and together, hopefully, we will share some experience and knowledge on NPS and, well, how to turn detractors into promoters. Myself, in particular, I am really looking forward to see how repetitive purchases and basket size correlates to satisfaction, how we can utilize AI to help us with the topic, and, well, also how individual performance of customer facing staff has what to do with the NPS and the potential churners or promoters. Well, when it comes to form, we really would like to make it like a super interactive today. So there is a comment section on the right side where you can write any questions that comes to my mind. I believe that we can try out if the chat section works. So I would be happy as a warm up if you share with us the city, maybe where are you connecting for today's session. And all together, we will have like a 10 tips and trips on MPS improvement, and it will be followed with simple questions to our discuters. And these are, let me introduce and welcome Gabriela Ciupitu, who is international customer experience consultant. She's also a Customer Institute board member, and recently Gabi was named #1 influencer by Customer Experience magazine. Hello, Gabi. Happy to have you here today. And then,
Hello, thank you for having me.
yeah, we have also Jan Gabauer, who is lead customer experience consultant at Staffino with 20 years of experience running CX audits all across industries from telco to retail to utility services and banking across all the Europe. So really happy to hear your experience as well, Jano. So,
Thanks a
we
lot.
are. I see that we have friends from Frankfurt, Belgrade, Tel Aviv, even Nice. Oh, nice to have Nice. We have someone from Slovakia, Utrecht, and Bucharest. So it's pretty already nice audience. Well, Gabi, I will give stage to you, and we can start with first like an introduction to the topic, and we can jump on it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this initiative of having this webinar, and for this special date. We are on the March 11th at 11 CAT. So I believe this is a very good number to discuss about 10 tips and tricks about increasing NPS, and one bonus because we'll have 11 at the end of this webinar. So I wanted just to give you a highlight to see voice of the customer and to truly understand the customer experience. You have to zoom out and to have a bigger picture and to look at this, because customer experience doesn't operate in isolation. It's influenced by multiple interconnected elements within the organization. And that's where the concept of voices comes in, that create an ecosystem that supports sustainable business growth. I propose you to break them down and to see how they work together, all these voices. First, the voice of the customer, because we are talking about it, represent the feedback from customers. And you already know about surveys, reviews, social media comments, reviews, complaints, or any data that tell us that customers think, feel, and experience when interacting with a brand, with a business. Well, we can say that voice of the customer is the foundation of CX because it reveals what the customer needs, expect, and what is their perspective about the brand. But you know the quote that happy employees creates happy customers. And now I'm going to the voice of employees because employees are the ones delivering the experience. So their voice matters just as much as the customers. The voice of employees includes employees' feedback, engagement surveys, annual performance management, and so on. But we can say if employees feel valued, supported, and engaged, they will naturally provide better services to customers, even they are customers facing or in support departments. And here I want to highlight that support departments are very important in customer experience, even they don't interact directly with the customers. But going further, even the best employees can't deliver great service if the processes are broken. The voice of process focuses on operational efficiency. Things like queue management, inventory availability, digital user experience, billing processes, or even support tickets resolution. On voice of the process, here we ensure the internal workflows, support seamless and frictionless customer experience. This is something new about voice of the action because it's not put on the table so often. Because this is the validation of CX efforts. That's why I wanted to have it in our discussion. And this is not about just about what customer employees say. It's about what they actually do, moving from perception to reality. This voice of the action represents the actual behaviors of customers and employees, their choices, their loyalty, their advocacy, and even their complaints. And to look here, unlike survey data, which captures opinions, voice of action reflects real and measurable actions. The last but not least, voice of business is here because businesses need to be profitable to survive, to have a sustainable growth. And here the voice of the business measures the financial impact of CX, how customer experience influence revenue. And I know that Jano prepares some nice figures for you, but also how customer experience is going to cost saving and long-term profitability. It's actually about providing that investing in CX isn't it about the customer satisfaction, but it's about the profit. So looking at this picture, we can say that voice of the customer is not alone. It has to be somehow linked with all those voices in order to see what is the root cause of a problem or a bug, and also to predict the further results.
Amazing. Thank you, Gabi. May I ask you one question here?
Sure.
Because that's what we observe. You know, sometimes CX managers are like lonely warriors. Yeah, there's like they need to fight for their like importance within the company. So, how managers can like effectively integrate, their VOC program into the like this bigger, broader performance management system of the company?
Mm-hmm. Well, first it starts with the CX strategy that needs to be part of the business strategy. If the customer has a chair on the table of the managers where the decisions are taken, this is the first point. And then to have the tools, the dashboards, where to integrate voice of the customer in the total performance management in order to see how voice of the process and how processes, KPIs for processes and for employees are impacting the CX metrics, and also how is the behavior of promoters and the detractors related churn rate, related retention, the customer lifetime value, and also their buying and the number of purchases with the company.
Yeah, and this is like a super important point you just highlighted, and that's bring us to the second point, which probably goes for Yano. How, and this is like a real example how we can link uh, NPS score, or let's say churners and promoters into the money. How to translate NPS into the business result.
Yeah, definitely. As Gabi mentioned already, so customer loyalty isn't just about the satisfaction, so it's about the business performance and the revenue impact. And really, the key insight here is like unhappy customers, they don't just leave; they take their money with them. So it's as we can see on the graphs, so detractors purchase only 1.4 times on average, while promoters will do it like twice more compared to the detractors. And doesn't matter based on different examples from different companies which we have gathered within the past years, so we can see almost the same picture every time. So really, loyal customers don't just return more often, but they also spend significantly more. And as we can see on the second graph, so the promoters are making like more than 70% in average basket value compared to the detractors. So it's like a huge difference. So what does this mean for your business generally? So really, every detractor is a lost revenue opportunity, definitely, and not just because of the spending, but because of the word of mouth definitely damage, which could affect your future customers. Definitely, turning detractors into promoters will fuel the growth, repeated purchases, higher basket sizes, stronger advocacy, and small improvements in customer experience can have really direct financial impact. So that's the real challenge. How much revenue is your company losing just because of unhappy customers? And really, what actions are you, I mean, the real actions are you taking today just to
Okay.
turn it around?
Yeah, I will be like a simplifying voice. So what you are basically saying, NPS should not be just some reporting exercise. Hey, my NPS is this or that, but actually try to understand it and put it over the like a basket size and purchase data layer, and to see how often detractors buy, and I don't know how often promoters buy, and what's the basket size of the promoter and the detractor. But
Yeah.
now the question is, okay, let's say we are already here. I found out that detractors make only 1.4 purchases, while promoters do double the purchases. How to act on those data? What I'm supposed to do next?
Well, generally, so you have to do the immediate follow-ups, especially on the detractors. So just to make sure that you will resolve all the pain points which they could face along the way, and definitely you have to proceed with the root cause analysis. So to discuss the outer loop from the causal feedback and make sure that you will not just reactively solve the issues of individual customers, but you will really avoid the root causes of the dissatisfaction. So that are like two main strategies how to tackle this topic.
Mm-hmm. And can I predict churn based on those data somehow?
Yeah, definitely. Because you can see whether your detractors are decreasing or not over the time. Based on that, you can really predict the churn. You can even look at the, for example, operational plan, and you can estimate whether the actions you will take on the company level will in some way affect the performance of the customer experience within the company. So, and based on that, you can really predict whether the NPS will be higher or lower.
And where should I start? Like in the managerial level, should I go to the front lines and start training the front lines, employees, or?
That's a really interesting question. So generally, we are always recommending to start from both sides. So start to measure the NPS like a top-down approach on the customer base, and to do the transactional level. So bottom-up NPS measurements, and to combine both of them into like a robust view where to start with the improvements. Because generally, it's it will not only help to train the staff to become like more skilled if we will not really solve the root causes behind the low satisfaction or low loyalty.
Thank you. I would be really interested to learn from our audience. Are you basically only reporting on NPS, or you go deeper into the understanding, let's say, purchase behavior of your potential churners, detractors, promoters? Feel free to add your points into the comment sections. We can come back to this later, or if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Meanwhile, I believe that we can go on the next detail, how we can prevent churn before it's too late.
Yeah, the churn is one of the biggest threats to the business growth, and the key here is really to stop the churn through the early detection of the churn. So from our perspective, based on our experience, the NPS zero NPS means that it's like an early warning sign that you have potential churner, and yeah, we can see based on the data here on the slide that if you are able to identify the potential churners, to take the proactive actions on them, so you can really save some existing revenue. In this case, we can see that through the year, the client was able to identify more than 500 churners through the proactive prevention, which was working on 80% effectiveness. So they are able to secure like 400K revenues annually, just because of this fact that they get the insights from the CX program, and they could know where to look up for our churners. Definitely, silence equals lost revenue in this case. And what we can really recommend is always fast actions. I mean, the recovery actions, which can really turn the detractor into neutral. And don't forget, you don't need to spend like a lot of money on it. So typically, some apology or explanation of the situation will be enough for the customer, because the customer will be happy just because of that fact that somebody has reached for him or her for example, after the interaction with the company, and you took the effort just to to fix the relationship with the customer. So this is like a really deal breaker for the customer.
We actually see this often. Clients start, or they already have a VOC program. They collect data, but they don't act in terms of contacting detractors. So you said that the best way how to do it is to do it fast and do whatever, just do something. Yeah, when it comes to the reach out strategies.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe my question, this password AI, everybody's talking about AI. What's your real experience and observations from the market? Is there effective use of AI to fight churn, to fight detractors?
Yeah, sure. The most obvious usage of the AI will be to let the AI read the insights from the customers, I mean the verbatims, because sometimes it could happen that, for example, the customer will leave higher NPS score, but they will mention that they would like to leave. And based on the AI analytics, you can really assess huge volumes of such insights and pick out the real potential churners. So that's the first obvious thing which you can do. On the other hand, even if you are getting like a huge volume of feedbacks and you don't have enough staff, for example, to handle, to handle the responses to the customers, which could be detractors. So there is like, for example, we have AI feedback responder for that, which can bring the customer back into the discussion, and even with some simple explanations, apologies can improve the score at the end of the day. Yeah, so definitely there is like many options already how to utilize AI here.
Yeah, and actually, I believe that the next slide is AI. But before we get there, what would you say to clients or like CX managers who are afraid of using or letting AI respond to clients? Is it okay to let AI? Have you done studies? What's the quality of the let's say, for example, conversion rates on engagement of the customer side? What's the accuracy of the AI tools when it responds to messages by customers?
Yeah, we have several evidence, based on this, and generally the accuracy is really high, and it really depends from the type of the clients you are handling and the type of the process what we are talking about, because typically the simple processes will be more precise being handled by the AI because it's easier for it. But generally, I would not be afraid really to use it. And always you can do the A/B testing for beginning and to compare how the AI is comparing, for example, to the live agent, for example, who has to call the customer and so on. And based on that, you will really easily recognize that the AI definitely is not the threat to the business, and it could really help and make you more efficient with the solving.
So what you say basically, instead of procuring like a huge tools and planning huge rollouts, basically do a simple proof of concept, take one team or take one use case, one channel, one touch point, and just deploy there and observe, measure, and then maybe go bigger.
Yeah, definitely, because you don't need to spend you don't need to build the huge teams, so you have to be efficient here, really, to find the right balance. So generally, we don't say that AI will solve everything. So we really prefer this mixture of AI and human behind it. But generally, at the end of the day, especially if you have different values, different value segments of your customers, so you will realize that you can really handle the low value customers with the AI, for example, and to leave the skilled people to handle the most like high value customers. Definitely.
Yeah, I remember that from some implementations we did, that the quality of the engagement that AI was able to create was comparable to human, and so was the messages, on the quality of the messages that AI generated. Okay. Maybe here you can tell us more about how sentiment is being extracted from the open topics.
Well, what can I say in addition that Jano already present this slide? I would say that AI is somehow our new colleague, that it's analyzing customers verbatim. And I know several companies that are still analyzing verbatims with people, that it's a huge spend of resources. And what can I say is that the semantic analysis with AI identifies topics in customer feedback through open-ended questions and assigned topics, because at the end of the day, not only the numbers, the value of KPIs is important, but what is behind, what is the reason customers gave this a rate, even if it's small or high. So my point here is that we have now tools, we have now AI that can help us see what is the customer sentiment, what are the main reasons for being satisfied or unsatisfied the customers. And also we can have the classifications of these reasons, and also the emotions, frustrations, excitement, and so on. What I would add here is that we can have situations with sarcastic answers, for example. And here somehow the humor and the human part is coming in order to improve the accuracy and reliability of customer sentiment insights. So somehow I'm totally agree, and I'm a fan of AI, but also to be managed and a little bit controlled by people on the analysis.
Yeah, and for that I know there are like a different levels of deployment. So you can like either fully autonomous AI, or basically it is like a have you said like a colleague that gets the answers ready for you? You just quickly verifies it, and you just say, okay, ready to fly to the client. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Let's move to the next slide.
Okay, so the salespeople, advisors, people who are getting in touch with the customers along the way. So honestly, typically we are spending a lot of time talking about the customer experience on the company level, but what about this individual level? So from our experience, it's really important one, because it directly impacts NPS, customer satisfaction, and revenue. So when we are looking at this graph, so we can really see that the customers who are really satisfied with the approach of the uh, of the of the sales advisors, so their NPS is uncomparable higher compared to the people who are really dissatisfied with the advisor approach. On the other hand, if you are looking at your teams on the program level, for example, so you will always find some variation. And the true role of the first line managers is to decrease this variation and to make sure that your people are conducting the process as intended, really, and they are delivering similar or same experience to your clients. Based on this, these are like really hidden gains in NPS, in revenue, because based on just variation management, you can earn a lot more money from the existing clients who are in your stores and doing business with you.
Interesting, and you are showing nice graph where I believe that on the right side I have like a top performers, and if me being the let's say reporting manager to all of those sales guys, is it naive or is it realistic to believe that I can achieve like this great performance in all of my sales reps, or I always
Yeah, to be honest, I think that there will be always some outliers within the team, because we are all humans, and from time to time, people doesn't have great times in their lives. So maybe they can drop in their performance just because of some external influences. On the other hand, as I said, it's like first line managers are getting paid for this job to make sure that it will not influence the overall performance. On the other hand, to be honest, we are still meeting a lot of people from the business, and when we are showing them their data, showing their variation among their stuff, so they will typically look at the outliers and say, oh yeah, we know about it, yeah, we know him or her. And this is not the correct approach, because it's similar to the detractors. So you have to act fast, immediately, to retrain the staff if they need some additional training, or just to remove them from the process if they are just causing some damage to your brand or to your business.
And what's your experience? What's your observation? Okay, you show such a report to the one of your clients. Let's say it can be retail business, it can be finance, whatever it is, call center. What they usually do? Do they fire people? Do they instantly train people, or they just do nothing and observe furthermore? What's usually client do?
It depends where's the starting point of the customer experience, internal acceptance within the company, because we have seen many clients who have started a couple of years ago really deploy the customer experience approach. Put the whole governance to the front line, and based on that, the customer experience has become like one of the normal way how they are doing their work. So they have really improved the individual performance. They get like a really small variation among the teams and so on. So there are many like successful deployments. Typically, it has to be conducted in that way that the really managers are looking at the customer experience results. First line managers are really looking at the variation, and the governance responsibility is being pushed to the first liners. So the people know that they have to the customer experience is so important, not only for their customers, but for the business and for them as well.
I see.
I
So
also,
yeah, sorry.
I
Gabi?
also want to jump in to this topic, because I believe it's very important to stay on it. I No matter what the problem is, I believe it's a cross-functional thing. I mean, is not only on sales, is not only on managers or in training department. The employees need to have good processes and tools in order to do their job. So we have to look in a bigger picture. Seeing on the product, people, processes, not only on people on their attitude, also can be from their performance management system or on their incomes. Why not? So we have to look broader than the sales performance and people.
Yeah,
I see your point. And imagine that I am a manager of those guys listed below, and on the right side we see like a top performers. How can I use those top performance, knowledge, experience to get the the underdogs higher? How can I do it effectively to share their knowledge, their approach to work? Because they are like a superstars when it comes to customer experience.
yeah, you can use them as a trainers for low performing people. On the other hand, you could really check what they are doing differently, and based on that, create like best practices, which will be used for training of the all people. So there are most common approaches how to use their experience, definitely.
And also as mentors, and to give them the context to show their stories, how they're motivated, how they're actually doing their job, and even how their managers are letting them doing their job and empower in decision, because this is also an important topic in having people empowered.
Yeah, and maybe one really important thing which is typically being is missing in any customer experience program, just because of the fact that you are getting a lot of insights from the customers, so you are getting a lot of positiveness towards the approach of your staff, and you have to use this positive
Mhm.
feedback from the customers to boost the employee engagement, as Gabi mentioned in the first topic, to boost the voice of employee and to make sure that they will convince themselves just because of all this feedback that their work is really important and they are really helping the customer.
Yeah, so feedback is not only for us to find blind spots for improvements, but actually to understand and stop for a while and hey, we are doing good job at this and that, and let's make it stronger. Okay, thank you guys. I'm just checking time, somewhere about the half time, so we have few more slides to go through. My favorite, upselling and MPS. Shall I push my customer facing staff to sell more?
Well, time has changed, and generally upselling is sometimes a little bit misunderstood, because the best upselling is generally not about the selling. It's about helping customer, to find what they actually need. So it's more like the best sellers. They just don't sell; they serve the customer. And honestly, based on the figures which we have gathered from many clients over the time, we can see one fact, and that's it. If you have like an assisted cell or partially assisted cell, so the human is involved there, so any attempt to correctly upsell the customer will drive your loyalty really high. So we can see that the impact on NPS is really strong. On the other hand, don't forget that really the customers, there is one common thing which they don't have these days, and that's the time. So typically, they don't have enough time to check all the offers, all the products when they are going somewhere. So if they are entering the store and there is this guy who is expert, so they will really be they are really happy to use the expertise really to help them to get their needs. On the other hand, don't forget that with the upsell, the upsell attempt, you can even manage the sales performance, because most of the sales operations will discuss the conversion and the volumes and the footfall, but generally they don't have like this opportunity to measure the upsell attempt, because based on the variation within the team, you can see whether all the people are using all the potential commercial footfall, for example, to upsell the things and to increase the revenue outcome. And the second really important thing is that definitely if you are doing upsell, so you are selling more per one visit, so the average basket value is really getting higher. And well, if you want to have more upsells, so you have to do more upsell attempts, and the customer experience program is really the great way how to measure it and how to manage it.
Okay, so you're saying if upsell is not just a silly upsell, but basically showing the care of the client, it actually has an impact even on greater loyalty. That's what we are saying, and you are saying that upsell can lead to 30% more in the basket size.
Definitely.
Cool. What are your observations, Gabi, from retail and NPS correlation to upsell and cross-sell?
Well, it's important to ask customers what is their feeling about this, because some customers can feel pushed to buy more, but others can appreciate that they receive more information, that I don't know, salespeople, it's it sees that he's important and want to take care of him, and for example, give him additional products for his health or for his needs. So depending on the customers, but as I saw also on your statistics, it seems that customers appreciate when salespeople come and see his needs and is proactive in recommending, and after this customer has the decision of buying or not.
Can it, if done badly, I mean the upsell attempt, if done
If
badly,
that
it
is
can hurt?
done badly and pushy, for sure the experience will not be positive.
And how can that be avoided on like a bigger scale, Gabi?
My opinion is that the selling process should be more consultative in order to know better the customer, to understand the needs, and with those information to come and be proactive in recommending, but not just thinking at the targets and recommending products, and that's it. To advise the customer.
Yeah, and from the practical point of view, it's always great to combine the customer experience results of individual sellers and their sales performance, and to look whether the best sellers are not like cutting the corners, through this like a push upsell. So and definitely it really depends from the vertical whether it will work better or not, because as always, typically, it will not work so great in grocery, but definitely it will work in pharmacy or in electronic goods store, or maybe in some public utilities when you have like different services, quite like hard sometimes to understand by the customer and so on. So there are like many examples where it works perfectly.
Cool. Let's move to the next one. We have like 20 minutes to go. We have like 3 other tips.
Yeah, waiting time. Yeah, that's the silent revenue killer, definitely, because they when the customer is walking into the store and there is like a huge queue, so sometimes they can even abandon the queue, not do the purchase, and you are like losing potential. I mean, you are losing revenues which were in the store already, and we can really easily see that if the customer has to wait too long, so the NPS is really dropping. On the other hand, we can see that even the upsell attempt is dropping. That's a typical example how the sellers will behave if they need really to sell like a huge queue in front of them. So they will try to process the initial requirements and just to manage the queue, and they will not use the available like a commercial potential of the footfall which is there. And just because of this, you are really losing the money, and you are impacting the loyalty of the customers. And what is always tricky, if there is like other option for the customer who doesn't want to wait, So they can even abandon like your company and go to the competitor just to buy what they need. So here, the best way how to avoid this is really to do the proper stuffing, to try to overcome the peaks, and definitely to manage proactively the queue. So really the worst case scenario is when there is like no management of the queue, and there are like readily, I mean, on daily basis some queues in the stores. So you can make sure that very in this case you are losing the money.
Yeah, we have Amelie from Bucharest, if I'm not mistaken, saying that one way of fighting this situation is to make it easy for customers to do the purchase. But when we go from industry to industry, waiting times and expectations around waiting times differ. I don't know. It is different in retail. It is different in, I don't know, banking, automotive, insurance.
Yeah, definitely, because if it depends from the relationship with the customer. So if it's subscription based and the customer doesn't have like other opportunity than to use your store, so typically they will wait. But it doesn't mean that they will not be like dissatisfied. So it's easier maybe to manage within the some general retail stores. But again, really, to be honest, I always recommend really to deal with it and to manage the waiting time and not to let it go, because even if you have like a general retail and the customer have different options, so really they can leave for good and never return just because of this. So
Cool. We can move on because I would like to maybe keep last 10 minutes for a discussion. So we have two last points, three last points. Gabi?
Yes, I will enter into details on what Jan already said about waiting times. Tracking KPIs over time help us better understand the factors influencing customer experience. So, the factors can be external, like the weather, which is beyond our control but still allows for proactive actions, such as offering umbrellas on rainy days. So depending what you are doing during the waiting times, during the bad weather, and all those factors. But also there are internal factors, such as peak periods like Black Friday or Christmas, or even unexpected system breakdowns. In these service recovery efforts, I believe, can significantly impact customer perceptions, depending on how well a company anticipates and responds to challenges. And I put this slide because I noticed that some companies set a specific NPS target, like their North Star for performance management, making it an annual KPI for all employees. And here is a challenge. How can employees and even management decisions effectively influence customer experience if they are guided by a single number? And more than this, because I'm coming back to the employees, they may feel demotivated if they don't understand what levers they can pull to impact the KPI that determines their annual bonus, maybe. And here I feel the need to say that is a more effective approach to break down NPS by customer type, store location, product category, and even channel, because I believe tracking NPS or any other CX metrics at the touchpoint level. With this approach, customer perception varies based on different interactions, whether it's making a purchase, completing a payment, or even receiving a bill. So that's why mapping touch points is a critical first step in any voice of the customer program, because it's ensuring that customers are heard at every stage of their journey. And while many organizations understand this in theory, because we all read the books, articles, and look at webinars, we observed that in practice, many companies focus only on their website while overlooking their key phases like onboarding. Others prioritize customer service, but neglect crucial aspects such as billing and payments experiences. So I put this map here in order to just to give you a hint to a holistic approach, because this ensures that no part of the journey is left out, and that every interaction of the customers contributes to a seamless and positive experience. So again, look at also at the big picture, but also in detail, in order to understand on each touch point, depending on the customer persona or segment, to see which is best for it and how it should be managed.
Yeah, there is an anecdote coming to my mind. We had a client that focused so much on one specific customer journey, which was like, I don't know, some problems with payments. And they actually managed to fine tune the process in that way that the score was like a super amazing in terms of NPS. But you know what dropped dramatically? And where were the worst NPS results? General requirements. Yeah. So they focus on something highly specific and they forgot the basics. Like a super simple question that customers came with actually started to generate like unhappy customers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's interesting. It's interesting also, and I encourage all my customers to measure NPS or CSAT on the collecting department where the customer are not paying so well, but the way you are treating those customers can say a lot of things about the organizational culture, and
Yeah.
it's interesting to measure there.
And so far we have been talking about feedback we asked for. And what about feedback we don't ask for? The feedback that comes uninvited, maybe sometimes from all of the Google reviews and TripAdvisor and Trustpilots.
Yeah, maybe we should be started with this slide, because customers' feedback exists even we ask or not. So we have complaints, we have customer service calls, we have Google, Facebook reviews, and so on. And to be honest, unhappy customers are always louder than happy ones. That's why businesses tend to get more negative reviews than positive ones in online. And here the real challenge is these reviews are public. So it's not just internal. A lot of potential customers can see all those messages, and uh, this is about, first we need to respond. Company needs to respond, not just to defend the brand, but to show they are listening and care about the customer opinion. Second, the company needs to track reviews in real time, so we can spot issues before they escalate. But it's not just about negative feedback, because positive reviews also matters. So these positive reviews, because we also talk about this topic, help build trust, encourage, and there are a lot of statistics, and I know that more than 50% of the customers trust the online reviews, and they actually buy they buy based on these recommendations. So like a bottom line of this slide, listening is not enough. We need to analyze, to act, and to turn feedback into opportunities. So to come back to the customer and say, hey, I hear you. This is what I can do for you, and thank you for your feedback, because this helped me to improve my process, or to fix a bug or something else. So is not is we have not to ignore those feedbacks, and to use in transforming into opportunities.
And let's say I am new to the business, to the CX. Where should I start? What's more valuable? Should I start asking for, this requested feedback, or should I started with the social media because I cannot handle both of the same time? Which comes first?
I will start with complaints.
No
This is
matter
the
where they
first.
come.
No
Okay.
matter what, I will start with internal complaints. Then I will go to the online feedbacks, because the online, as I already mentioned, is impacting the decision of potential customers. Is not okay to have negative, but it's important to answer, to be specific, not to just like a robot. Hey, I hear you, give me your data, and that's it. It needs action.
And what's your observation, maybe, Ano, Gabi, I don't know, root cause problems and analyzing the topics, sentiments, the topics of the reasons of dissatisfaction, do they differ when you ask for a feedback, your customer base, and if you analyze public voice? Is it the same? Is it different?
Actually, indeed, you are right. Those two voices, internal and external, let's say, must be correlated. Uh, in the most of the cases are somehow similar. There are not so many differences related the reasons, but in online you can find more let's say more reviews, more insights from the customers, because they feel free to talk, to write a comment, and also it's easier to write a review than to do a complaint, an official complaint to a company.
And
This makes
I'm just
as
reading. Sorry, Ano. I'm just reading Vladimir's comment. He says, and that's actually what we also advise to client. Like some clients are sometimes too hesitant to take action. They are waiting. Okay, I need to hear it 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. And what we say, taking, not to be overwhelmed by the negative feedback. Actually, take first negative feedback, start acting on it, and you know that you already improve processes. Yeah, so that's just not to be afraid to start somewhere. Yeah. Jano, sorry.
well, I just wanted to mention that even there are like nice practices how to increase the volume of positive feedbacks in the public reviews to make sure that the picture of your company doesn't seem so bad if you have many like unsatisfied customers going public. So typically, you can really ask the customers who are leaving the feedback within your customer experience program, like internal program, and if they are leaving like a good NPS score, so you can just ask them at the end of the flow to go to the, for example, Google review and to leave the same comment there. And based on that, you will just make sure that it will become more equal. I mean, the real public image of your company. But
That's a real hack. So you just said that actually I can have a control over my public score karma. Yeah. So by just pivoting some of the happy customers towards like a reviews and to encourage share it there, so you don't leave social media only for complainers. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. We don't have much time, so we can basically conclude. Maybe, yeah, some last thoughts from you, Gabi and Jano.
Yes, my last thought on this slide is that voice of the customer program is not about collecting data; it's about storytelling, but also it's about solving, understanding in internal part in the company, and also to come back and close the feedback loop with the customer. So this should be a continuous process of improvement, and also to use this storytelling, these customer stories, in order to increase the motivation of employees, to attract customers as ambassadors, brand ambassadors, in order to increase, at the end of the day, to increase NPS, and also to increase the business. what I want to add more on the next slide is related the employees and also the organizational culture, because Voice of the Customer program can also contribute to the organizational culture. Um, Giving information and also democratizing data for the customers is very important for employees. They need to have the context. They need to know all the data in order to answer very specific to a customer. Because at the end of the day, great experiences don't just create loyalty, they create growth, success, and brand that people truly trust. And when 77% of customers trust a brand recommended by a friend or family member, and more than 50% trust the online reviews, then we have to be very careful also with our customers, but also with employees, because they are doing their job and they are making our customers happy.
Thank you. I'm happy that we are ending on the positive note. So actually, we can even we can measure the customer satisfaction with our performance today, and yeah, that's actually what will follow. Is there anyone that wants to ask something? We have like a last 5 minutes, so feel free to ask anything you want to Jano and Gabi. Meanwhile, I will just sum up that we are. Thank you. Okay, just thank you message from Dana Christiana. So yeah, we will send you slides to all of you that took part for this experience, and yeah, we maybe even invite you to share maybe some other ideas on topics you would like to dig into. And yeah, we will also share contact to Gabi and Jano. So if you have like some individual challenges and topics you would like to discuss, feel free to reach to them. And yeah, that's it. So really thank you for coming here today and being with us. I hope that you are inspired by some numbers, observations, experience, and knowledge. And happy to see you on the next session. Thank you and bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
And thank you, Jana.
Yeah, my pleasure.
You're welcome.